Can a criminal repay their debt to society? I would 100% say that they can, because I believe that it's built into who humans are and what they are to naturally be able to forgive people. And I would say that if a criminal works hard to redeem themselves, that I think they can in society's eye. So for those reasons, I would say that a criminal can repay their debt to society.
Go.
Can a criminal truly repay his debt to society? I say no, because a lot of time when criminals perform a horrible murder or an armed robbery, if you kill someone, you break connections that person has with other people, and you can't remake those connections, because once they're lost, they're gone, because that person's just gone forever. So I don't think if you kill someone, there's no way you can repay your debt to society. Or if you commit an armed robbery, the emotional stress that you've put on the person who witnessed the crime or maybe was held under gunpoint by you, you can't repay that either. But of course, if you steal something and do a small misdemeanor, of course you can repay that. But if it's real serious, I don't think so. Check it out.
Can a criminal ever repay their debt to society? I mean, to me, it's a question of magnitude. Like, if somebody just steals a chapstick from the grocery store, yeah, they can just give it back and everything's all right. But, if you commit an armed robbery, there are some pretty nasty effects that go beyond whatever you steal in terms of just wrecking people's lives. And that sort of thing, like, even if you pay for therapy, that is pretty irreversible. And it doesn't really seem like a criminal can really ever truly repay their debt if the crime is of that extreme of a magnitude. There are just too many great ripple effects.
Already. Can a criminal ever repay his or her debt to society? I would absolutely agree that a criminal can repay their debt to society, because that is the beauty of the human condition, the ability to forgive. And I think that that's what makes us human, and I think that's what separates us from any other mammal in the world.
So can a criminal ever repay their debt to society? I think, one, it depends upon the action. I think if it involves some sort of harm to another person and they've altered that person's life, that no, they cannot truly pay it back.
Alright, so does a criminal ever repay their crimes to the society? And the answer is, there's two different answers. One, if they've just committed a misdemeanor, then yes, they can return whatever they've stolen and pay a little bit more to, like, say sorry for what they've done. But the other answer would be, if they've committed a more severe crime, like a murder, then they can't repay what they've done, because committing a murder, you can't join the connections back to the person who died, and they can never repay that life. So,
can a person truly
Can a criminal
truly repay their debts to society? And the answer to that varies. I think that in most cases yes, and in some cases no. There's a wide range of crimes that you can commit. For example, someone might steal Starburst from Sunmart. Not saying I've done that, but someone might do that. And someone else could murder someone, which happened. It's horrible, but it's happened. Someone else could murder someone. And the person who stole Starburst from somewhere, I think that they can repay their debt. Why not? They stole Starburst. They could pay their fine back to the store, and then some. Maybe serve jail if it's like a lot of Starburst. I don't know. And community service. That's definitely paying it back to society in my mind. That's a great way to have criminals pay back. I think, because it's helping everyone. and it's a really selfless way because you usually are selfish when you commit a crime. Now, to the murder case, you can't, I don't believe that they can do that. I don't believe that if you murder someone, there's a line, and I'm not sure where that is, but murder is definitely on the other side of the line, crossing that line, and you can't repay them back. Because sometimes you can be forgiving, you can say, okay, this guy lives in, like, Wyoming, and he murdered someone, but he feels really bad, he wants to serve 20 years of jail and then get out. Like, to me, that, like, my first inclination is, oh, you know, he's a nice guy, he's a school teacher, okay. Think about the person that he killed. Think about that person's mother, or if it's a dad, that person's daughter. Think about how drastically they changed their lives. And it's great to forgive, and that's what people are good at usually. But, like I said, that's crossing the line, and that's not okay. So in that situation, you can't repay your debt. And I believe that you should go to jail for the rest of your life. Death row is another option, and yeah, that's it. So a lot of times, yes, but sometimes if you cross the line, then no, you cannot pay your debts to society. Thank you.
Can a criminal truly repay his debt to society? Right? Alright, so I don't think so, because if like someone's been killed, then it's like, no, and they're already killed, and there's just like nothing to do unless you say sorry, but that's not going to help really, because you killed someone, so no, you can't.
Speaking when you're ready.
Can a criminal pay his debt to society? No, because they'll still look at that person as what he did, and like it wouldn't be the same. Because if he does pay his debt, they're still gonna look at him as that person as like he killed this person, he robbed this store, and that he's still gonna have that image for the rest of his life. It's not gonna change. It's like high school. Once you're like, once you have that thing that everybody calls you, stays with you till the end of your high school year or until you go to college.
Can a criminal repay his or her debt to society? Yes, I'd say absolutely. The human species is quite capable of compassion and forgiveness, even under the most incredibly horrendous circumstances. So I think I'd have to go with yes. As far as how that can happen, obviously that is up to the individual and society to look at the circumstances and to provide that opportunity for a criminal to get a fresh start, look at what he or she has done, and to do the hard work that it takes to repay those who were victimized.
Can a criminal ever repay his debt to society? I think the short answer is yes. Our country was founded by a bunch of people looking for second chances, and so really just a kind of a national theme is second chances and being able to start anew. So if a criminal pays his debt through the criminal justice system, I say he's even and he gets to start over.
After conducting our interviews, I've come to the conclusion that I do believe Pierre Thomas paid his debt to society, because I think the interviews really taught me one important thing, which is that it depends on what the criminal did, which determines whether or not he can pay his debt to society. And I believe by Pierre not killing the police officer and just shooting him, that he was able to rehabilitate himself in prison and was able to redeem himself and work towards paying off his debt. So I believe that the answer to the question whether or not Pierre paid off his debt is yes.
Can a criminal ever truly repay their debt to society? I'm saying yeah, and Pierre Thomas did for sure. Pierre Thomas really came out of jail and he bettered his life. He wrote that book, and he really taught people about how what he did was a mistake, and how he can really better from that, and how other people today growing up in the barrio, otherwise known as Spanish Harlem, can make better choices and be more successful with their lives. Pierre Tomas really did pay for what he did, because 1, he served time in jail, and 2, he came out and really bettered himself, and he's a tight dude now. Check it out.